Good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers before our Upanishad studies. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhurbhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Vargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat, Asto Ma Satgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, मृत्योर्मामृतं गम्या ओम सहनावतु सनो भुनक्तु सवीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and we are on the second mantra of the fifth section of a first chapter. Okay. So on your page, in your book, it's page number 75 where it started. And we looked at the first mantra last time. And the title of this Brahman is Saptha Brahman. So this verse number 2, mantra number 2, you can see it's a super large mantra. Let's read it first, then read the translation. And then after that, I'll try to elaborate on it a little bit. Yat sapt anani medhya tapsaha janitta iti medhya hi tapsan yapitaha ekmasya sadharanam iti damevasya tat sadharanam annam yadi damyate sa ya etat upasate na sa papamano vyavrate mishram ved etat द्वे देवान भाज्यत इति हुतम च प्रहुतम च तस्मात् एविभ्यो जुहति च प्रच जुहति अथो आहुर दश पूर्ण मासाविति तस्मान अन्नम याचकः स्यात् पशुभ्ये एकं प्रायच्छत् इति तत्पया पयो हि एव अग्रहे मनुष्याश्च पशवश्च एप जीवन्ति हि तस्मात् कुमारं जातं घृतं वेव अग्रहे प्रतिलेयन्ति स्तनं वानुधापयन्ति हि अथ वत्सं जातम् आहुर्तनाद इति तस्मिन् सर्वे प्रतिष्ठं यत् च प्राण इति यत् च न इति पयसि इदं सर्वे प्रतिष्ठं यत् च प्राण इति यत् च न तद इति म आहु सुवंसरं पयसा जुहृद पुनर्मृत्युम जयत इति न तथा विद्यात् यदहरेव जुहोति तदह पुनर्मृत्युम जयतम विद्वानम सर्वं हि देवोभ्यम अन्नाद्यम प्रयच्छति कस्मातानि न क्षीयन्ते अध्यमनानि सर्वदा इति पुरुषा व अक्षतिः स हिदम अन्नम पुनः पुनर्जनयते यो वेताम अक्षितम वेद इति पुरुषो व अक्षिति स हिद अन्नम धिया धिया जन्यते करम भी यद्वेतन कुर्यात् क्षीयेत सो अन्नम इति प्रतीकेन इतिम मुखम प्रतीकम मुखेन एतत् स देवान् पिगच्छति स उजर उपजीवति इति प्रशंसा. And translation of this is, that is on page number 80, that the Father created 7 kinds of food. And who's the Father? Brahma. That the Father created 7 kinds of food. So that's what Saptha is, 7 kinds of food. Through meditation and rites. Means that the Father verily created them through meditation and rites. One was the general food of all beings. Means that this food which is eaten by all is indeed that general food of all beings. He who adores This food is never away from sin, but this is the common food of all. 2. He assigned to the gods, means making libations in the fire and giving other offerings to the gods. Therefore, people make libations to the gods in the fire and give them other offerings. Some, however, hold that these two mean the new moon and the full moon sacrifices. Therefore, one should not be chiefly occupied with the Ishti sacrifice for material results. 1, he gave to animals means it is milk. For men and animals, at first live on milk only. Therefore, people either make a newborn child lick only melted butter or suckle it. And they say of a newborn calf that it is not yet eating grass. Whatever lives and whatever does not, all rest on this. Means whatever is animate and inanimate indeed rests on milk. On this point, it is said that by making offerings of milk in the fire for a year, one overcomes further death. One should not understand like that. He who knows as above overcomes further death on that very day on which he makes that offering. For he offers all eatable food to the gods. Why are the foods not exhausted, though they are constantly being consumed? Means that the eater is verily the cause of their inexhaustibility, because he creates this food again and again. Whoever knows the cause of this inexhaustibility means that the eater is indeed the cause of their inexhaustibility, because he creates this food through meditations for the time being and through activities. If perchance he does not do this, it will surely be exhausted. In the sentence, he eats food prominently. Pratikain, pratika means front, prominence. So the meaning is prominently. He attains identity with the gods. He lives on nectar as eulogy. See, sa urjam upajivati iti prashansaha. That's how this long mantra ends. So the 7 kinds of food we have been learning are started to learn. We don't know all 7 yet. There are several mantras in this section to explain that. But who produced it? Very clearly, he says, Father produced by virtues of knowledge and action. So this production through the Gyan Shakti and Kriya Shakti. And as human beings also, we use these 2 powers to produce. By virtue of his knowledge, he knew that the creation must have something to live upon. It's just like even when we plant a seed, for that seed to sprout, we know the sunlight is needed and water is needed, soil is needed. The same thing goes for all us human beings too. So he knew that the creation must have something to live upon. He understood that something was essential which might nourish the entire creation and support it. And this understanding is the knowledge. And he thought that how to support this creation. So that's why this mantra uses 2 terms over here, medha and tapa. So these are the 2 processes involved in the production of food. Gyan Shakti, that's medha, and tap is the Kriya Shakti. So the division or classification of food is given. So one food, he says, was common for all. Whatever is eaten here, that is a common food. And we know this common food, like grains, corns, fruits, vegetables. All beings have their sustenance because of these common foods. So it is common for all living beings, whether human beings or animals. All, without any exception, eat food and support their physical body. So that's why the yogis called this physical body the Anmay Kosh also. From a few pounds to a big structure, it became because of the Anna. So this common food refers to the fruits of every actions of every individual. So in order to produce this food, we need to do some activities also. So over here, we know that everyone enjoys the fruits of the actions, even done in the past lives. Those are the prarabdha karam which we bring with us. There is a one common law which operates on all beings, that we enjoy the fruit of our individual actions. And that is the common food, actually. The common food, which is the fruit of action, is responsible for supporting the creation. In this sense, all beings, without any exception, become the enjoyers. And the fruits of their actions become the one common food for their enjoyment. So it's not only the physical food he is talking about, he's talking about the fruits of our actions also. So we got to look at these mantras a little with a deeper significance. We all naturally live upon this enjoyment and cherish these enjoyments more and more. We want to enjoy. And these enjoyments continue to live, they let live the creation. Until we can completely annihilate them by the knowledge of the Supreme. So this karam phal keeps on growing until we have a knowledge of the Supreme. And that fact we'll see that later on in this Upanishad. When this Rishi will talk about the Brahm Vidya. It's in the subsequent chapters, not in this chapter. Over here, he talks about the Anna. So those who apply themselves in enjoying these fruits cherish a longing to enjoy them more and more. Sure, they maintain their existence. So the cycle continues. They are never released from this cycle. Because the enjoyment nourishes craving, craving produces further enjoyment, and the chain of craving and enjoyment, desire and action continues. We can see that in this life, but if we expand our vision a little, we can see that. Why did we come here? Because there were some desires, unfulfilled desires. We want to fulfill them, but while fulfilling them, we create more desires. This chain or this cycle never ends. So that's why the enjoyer has no scope for final salvation and freedom. There is a term, pap, that means literal meaning is sin or evil. But in philosophical terms, it stands for sense enjoyment. Because sense enjoyment leads to further recurrence of birth and death. Instead of attaining the salvation, we just keep on rotating in this wheel. Enjoyment through the senses of the respected objects we are all familiar with. And animals also enjoy through their senses. Animals enjoy the pleasure and also suffer the pain as us human beings do. Eating, sleeping, fear, and excretion are common in both. If you pay attention, they all do that. And we do the same. So that's why this mantra states that this food is common to both men and animals. If men who are endowed with the special privileges of viveka, discrimination, or spiritual salvation, they can enjoy everything in common with animals. But if we pay attention, if we want to progress in the path of spirituality, then we can become free. Otherwise, we would never become free from the evil in the form of birth and death. And birth and death, we all know, there's a lot of pain and suffering. There's a lot of suffering involved with birth, with growth, with decay, and ultimately death. It goes hand in hand. Next come the two kinds of food provided for the gods he talks about. We are all familiar with how gods are constituted of the subtle elements. So there are grosser elements, then there are subtle elements. So first, there's a grosser elements are created. Then there are subtle elements also. Subtle elements do not have the physical bodies as human beings or animals and others have. They do not enjoy anything through their sense organs. That's why when we make the offering to the Agni Devata, we don't see the mouth or the hands and the legs. But that is a Devata, subtle Devata. So they do not enjoy anything through their sense organs the way we do. Still, they take the enjoyment of every being. It is said sometimes that these gods do not eat through their mouth anything gross as we do, but they are satisfied by merely looking at them. So it's just like when we give the prasad, put the prasad in our temple, God is looking at it, gets satisfied. It's an age-old belief, which is current even to this day, that gods live in the heaven, which is full of pleasure. So devatas, they live in the heaven. And they eat and enjoy what is offered to them by human beings. So the subtle essence of the gross offerings reaches them. It reaches to the Pitri-lok also. That's why we do all those yajnas. Sometimes when invoked, they come to the place of sacrifice and even take their share. But of course, only the subtle essence of what is offered to them. That's why Lord Krishna says, when you offer me the leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even water. I take it. I accept it. There is another view that the gods reside in the body itself. These are the guardian deities of the individual organs. There is a devta behind the eyes also, behind the ears also, behind the mouth also, behind the hands and legs also. That's why our rishis called this human body a devalya, a temple. We got to remember that. If we remember that this is a devalya, devatas live there. Alya means the home. So this is a home for devatas. See, this just like a Himalaya, Vidyalaya. This is a devalya. Hands have as their presiding and guardian deity as Indra, they say. Whatever enjoyment is acquired by the hands goes to its devata Indra. And all the other organs also have got their individual guardian deity who become the enjoyers of actions done by respective organs. These guards are supported or rather maintained by the different organs. But then there's a popular belief, a mystical one, sure, that gods are in heaven solely depending upon the offerings that are specially made for them. Then when we do the yajnas. So in this way, they find their living and sustain their existence. So that's why this mantra says that one sacrifices and makes offerings for the gods. And when we say gods, that means the devatas. But some say that the terms hut and prahut, these are the two terms came over here, really mean new moon and full moon. So there are sacrifices done on those days also. New moon and full moon. A lot of people, they fast on those days. People put special value on those days because they form the model for all sacrifices of the types called Ishti. Ishti. Ishti is a large number of offerings for achieving special ends. That falls under the heading of Sakam Bhakti. Like you want something and you do those sacrifices hoping that you will get those fruits. They should be performed for the sake of gods, without any selfish motive. And what are the selfish motives? Such as progeny, wealth, heaven. If you are an aspirant of liberation, otherwise we just keep on rotating in this cycle of birth and death. A sadhak who is a spiritual sadhak should not, as a rule, desire anything other than God. Whether it's a progeny, wealth, heaven, they should perform the sacrifices, but in a selfless spirit. Because if a person performs these sacrifices for material ends, then that person will be under obligation to those gods who fulfill his wishes. So it's like again, there is a give and take. He'll be a slave to those gods. as animals are to human beings. And that's how the obstruction comes on the path of freedom. So that's why perform sacrifices, make offerings to the God without any selfish motive. Just to support the creation and command the mastership over them. That's what was instructed by Lord Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita. The one food which the Creator gave for animals refers to milk in this verse, which is given to all men and animals by the mother. The animal over here stands for human babies also, because just like a baby animal, a human baby also, they both receive nourishment from the milk alone. And there are some Vedic customs where newborn baby is given a ghee, clarified butter, product of milk. All about the newborn calf also, he mentioned in this mantra. That which breathes and which does not subsists on milk. How can it be said that the even inanimate things like mountains and forests live upon milk? Why is this Rishi saying that? This milk word is not the milk the way we see it. It means the primary cause. Primary cause. It is declared and established by Shrutis as well as Samritis that the entire universe has been created as a result of the offerings, which were made into the sacrifices. And the result of the previous actions is the cause of the worldly existence. And a person overcomes further death by offering milk for a period of a long time. So you just make the offerings, do the sacrifices with the full knowledge of this great truth of existence that I have taken, but I need to give back also. I'm sustaining because of this creation, but I need to give back also. This is the knowledge he is giving it to us. Such a knower need not continue in the cycle of birth and death. This is a really mystical language this Rishi has used over here. Definitely very hard to comprehend. But we should understand it that all beings, whether animate or inanimate, live upon something from this creation. And he called it a milk. So milk word, do not understand it as literal milk. Sure, in the case of humans and certain animals, the mammals, it applied literally. But in other cases, it should be taken to mean the source of existence. That's what milk is. Just like a water and air are milk for the plants. And the trees also. That is a milk for them. Heat and earth are milk for minerals. So the term, this pie in this verse, sure, literal meaning is milk. At the same time, it stands for water and food in general. So we should understand that entire creation is supported by nourishment through earth, through manure, through water, through air, through heat. And that's how we should understand this passage. So it's not correct to say that merely by making offering of the milk and fire for a full year, you will overcome the death. He's not saying that at all. So certain verses, we can take it literally, but there are a lot of verses in the Upanishads we got to look at. What is the deeper meaning behind this is? We got to know the implication, the truth about this whole thing. And ultimately, with the help of the knowledge, we got to become identical with the Creator. Only then we can overcome death. The three foods which the Creator kept for himself, we'll see that in the next mantra. Because they do not belong to physical sphere to which the other four belong. Okay? So, now the question is, why and how these foods do not get exhausted? Even though they are being consumed by human beings, by animals, by devatas also, and even the Brahma also, the creator himself. Because normally anything which has been consumed must come to an end. So it should have happened in the case of these foods also. But the answer is that human beings are the cause for its inexhaustibility. How? Think about it. The impressions of all experiences, pleasurable as well as miserable, they are embodied in all of us. And where are they? In the Chitta, in our subconscious, or even unconscious levels of our mind. They are there embedded in the seed form. With the help of the stimuli, either from within or from outside. These impressions rise up to the conscious level. They expand and they express themselves as speech and actions. And they give rise to other experiences in future. So this is the inexhaustibility. We all know that individual mind is a storehouse of impressions, predispositions. And even at the time of the birth, within a physical frame, when we enjoy the objects of senses during the life in our particular body, it just gains many more impressions. And what happens? These are added to the store which is already there. Storehouse is so big from countless past lives. We add it to that. So as long as these impressions are there, the individual will be bound to add more and many more to their store. These are called sanchitkara. Every sense experience leaves back in the chit some kind of an impression. An impression could be good or bad. And the memory of a particular sense experience springs from the impression which has been formed. I mean, we can understand with the analogy of the seed. From a seed, tree comes. And that tree, once it's grown, gives the flower, from the flower to the fruit, and from the fruit, tree, seeds, more seeds. So impression gives rise to a craving, and a craving in turn results in a fresh impression. A craving first results in enjoyment. The enjoyment produces an experience in the mind. The experience forms an impression, and that impression causes again the craving for further enjoyment. We are all very much familiar with this cycle or cyclic chain, which is called cause and effect. So this is the inexhaustibility of food. Because normally we think when we hear the anna or the food, our mind only goes to those beautiful dishes, those meals we eat. Upanishads are talking about something altogether different. So with the help of this analogy of seed and tree, we can understand it very clearly. When an individual dies, the inexhaustibility of a food continues. The unfulfilled desires in the form of thoughts and impressions of actions and enjoyment follow the individual after death. That's why Lord Krishna said, get rid of the Trishnas, get rid of the desires. They are the gateway to hell. Kamanai. We got to look at our own desires. Any kind of a desire. Sure, we should not have any tamasic desires. Reduce the rajasic also. First increase the sattvic, then even detach from that too. Because sattvic desires also, they will bind us. They will bring us back. So we got to look at it. Our own desires. Are we changing the color? Are we reducing the quantity? And are we changing the direction or not? When we are on this path of spirituality, seriously. Unfulfilled desires in the form of thoughts and impressions of actions and enjoyments follow the individual after death. These are the variable upadhis that accompany the individual after death. We have the upadhis right now also. While we are on this earth in this beautiful human body, these are the upadhis. But after we leave, these are the upadhis which we are taking with us. And these are variable because the individual carries different kinds of sense impressions each time when he dies. In different incarnations, we have stored up innumerable sense impressions. By virtue of our ceaseless experiences, they have become so permanent in our storehouse. That's why they accompany us after death. They are the 5 Gyanindriyas, 5 Karamindriyas, 5 prans, 4-fold mind, which constitutes the astral body, and the Karan Sharir. Karan Sharir is the support of the astral body. In this way, the individual creates new venues of experience every time, in every incarnation, and maintains this inexhaustibility of his experiences. And that is responsible for this continuity of the individual. So that's why this mantra says the creator produces this food through understanding and through action. Gyan and karam. If the impressions of the sense enjoyments, we let go. How? By the acquisition of a Brahma Gyan. Then the food on which the individuality is maintained would be exhausted and completely annihilated. That is the Gyan. And then he talks about the process of eating. He says he eats the food through this mouth. And the term mouth is to be taken in the sense of all organs of perception and also the experience. Sure, ordinary food we eat through our mouth, but still we experience different perceptions. Food we are eating, we are looking at it through our eyes also, through the smell also, through the touch also. So through the respective sense organs, we are eating. It's not only going in our mouth, we are perceiving it through other organs also. So all objects are the food for the organs. So remember that mouth stands for all organs of sense perception. And in praise of this, he says, meditate on it. And he used the word prashansa over here. Prashansa means praise. So in praise of this meditation, he said, he who knows attains the celestial worlds and lives on a nectar. So we'll end it over here. I would like you to meditate on it. What we just learned through this super large mantra. Sure, we cannot memorize it, but at least we can understand the beauty of it. That what kind of a deep message this Rishi is giving it to us. So the first two ans he has explained so far. Okay? An for the devatas, the subtler forces, and an for the human beings and the animals also. The plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom also. Let's stop it here today and we'll see what else he is going to tell us. This is a large section of this chapter. So we'll start with verse number 3. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnam Eva Visheshyate Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much for joining.